Oh yeah, no, they just gave me a
Yeah.
ticket. And
Yeah.
the only other speeding ticket I got when I was 18, driving up to the state tournament.
My speeding is see that's it's kind of weird. I always go with the flow. Although if there's ample opportunity, I'll maybe nudge it a little bit, like in 5 mile increments. Maybe do 90, 95. But then if I'm passing
That's
too many
very
cars,
fast.
huh?
That's very fast. 90, 95 miles per hour? That's
But
so
if I'm
fast.
passing too many cars, I tend to slow down and I nudge back in and let a few cars pass me. That way,
Mhm.
if they see from overhead, they can see, oh, that white car isn't that fast. All these other cars are blowing by him. It's a little trick I've learned. You got to speed and then hide speed. Actually, when I asked one of the CHP officers, typically what they look for is someone darting in and out of traffic, like not just driving fast, but they're like cutting and cutting lanes and
that's usually the case. Both my speeding tickets, I was not doing that. I just got nabbed by a bored state cop.
You're gonna finish up my quota for the day.
Yeah, maybe.
God, we're so cynical.
I mean, I've definitely been pulled over a few times, but not for speeding. Not that I can remember.
Really?
No.
I've
No,
only been
more just like
Sarah's
I
got
don't know.
a light foot.
Yeah, like expired plates or
yeah, I've
stupid
only been pulled
stuff
over
that
once, and that was
is
for expired
completely my
plate.
fault. Yeah.
Patrick, do you drive enough to get pulled over?
Certainly, but I don't. We don't really have a lot of police here in the countryside. Oh, it happened once. Apparently, a lot of people drink too much and then drive on certain holidays. I guess it's common, and they did pull me over once.
Dear.
Was that just a random like checking to see if you're drunk?
They're like, that's the French dude. Surely he's been drinking wine. No, they stop almost everyone in those.
Yeah, okay.
I think it might have been summer, midsummer, and at midsummer a lot of people drink, so they increase.
They do checkpoints here for that kind of thing rather than pulling you over.
I have never been through one of those sobriety checkpoints.
I've been through a couple.
I've been through a couple. Yeah.
I've never been. I've never gone through one after having been drinking. I always go through them, and I'm like, this is annoying. Like I'm not nervous.
Exactly.
Like,
where it's like I'm not drunk. Okay.
Hold on, let me
whatever you got to do. It's sort of like going through like TSA.
Let me rinse out my mouth.
Whatever you need to do.
Mouthwash.
Yeah.
Well, folks, we are now going to take a moment to tell you the tech news of the day. We're going to take a break from Good Day Internet as soon as I figure out who to thank here at the top of the show. That's a good one.
Members like you.
Well, and thanks, guys, for keeping the holding the fort down yesterday in my absence. I missed you all, and I'm glad to be back.
Too.
Thanks.
Wasn't the same.
It's been since Wednesday.
I know it has.
Even though we got a double shot of Sarah today with Daily Tech Headlines. If you listen to Daily Tech Headlines. All right, Patrick, are you ready?
You know what state I came into the world in, Tom? Of readiness. You knew. I know you know.
Is it your born identity?
Oh, the state of
readiness. It's my born state.
I was about to say Bordeaux or something French.
He's born ready again. All right. Here we go. In 3, 2. Gary Tibbetts has supported independent tech news directly for 5 years. Why not be like Gary? Become a DTNS member at patreon.com/DTNS. This is the Daily Tech News for Tuesday, February 12th, 2019 in Los Angeles. I'm Tom Merritt.
And from Studio Feline, I'm Sarah Lane.
And I'm the show's producer, Roger Chang.
Sorry, I spaced out. I'm sick. I told you. I'm ill. I still have the flu. I apologize. I'm Patrick Beja from the wonderful Finnish countryside.
You are so many things, Patrick. Thank you for doing this show. I know you're still recovering from last week. We missed you last week.
Thanks. And you actually asked me before starting if I was ready, and I made a joke about the fact that I was born ready, and it's terrible. Anyway, let's talk about
That's
a
what
few tech
happens when
things
you
you
have a
should know.
fever.
Right. Sarah Lane's back. It's been since last Wednesday, so we're all back together. It's a family reunion on Daily Tech News Show. Let's start with a few tech things you should know.
I just said that.
Google announced new features when right-clicking on an email beyond those current 3 options that you might know and love: archive, mark as read, or delete. Users on Gmail's rapid release schedule will now start to see new features, including reply options, snoozing options, and muting options today, and the rollout to everyone will start on February 22nd.
Cue snotty responses from people who prefer keyboard shortcuts.
Well, you can have both. Sony Interactive, Sony's gaming business, is swapping its top executives. Deputy President Jim Ryan will step up to President and CEO, while current President and CEO John Codera will become Deputy President. Sony says Codera will continue to work on building up gaming and content services. Sony CEO Kenichiro Yoshida said he wants Ryan to oversee the stability of PlayStation, while Codera focuses on expanding PlayStation Network. Streaming, anyone? More streaming, I mean.
Yeah. Maybe some cross-platform. Just kidding. Legislation to give Russia more control over its internet traffic passed its first 3 readings in the Duma. That's Russia's lower chamber of parliament. The bill would route data through state-controlled infrastructure, install equipment to identify traffic sources and block banned content, and develop a national domain name system for use in the case the country was cut off from the rest of the internet. The bill has to pass 2 more votes in the Duma. It's expected to do so. Then it will have to be voted on by the upper chamber, the council. It's expected to pass there, and it's also expected to be signed by the president.
Adobe's Lightroom's next version will introduce a feature called Enhanced Details that uses a neural network to power something called demo stacing. Using machine learning in macOS and Windows, it can deliver 30% more resolution in Beja and Xtrans RAW files organically from a camera's sensor. It can also increase detail while reducing more and false colors.
Yeah. So if you want a little better raw image translation, faster too, you might want to.
I wonder if it's actually demosaicing, like demosaic, something.
Yeah,
and I also hope we can activate it by yelling enhance.
Zoom, enhance. All right, let's talk a little bit more about a change of personnel at Apple, Patrick.
Yes, absolutely. Apple has named Frank Casanova its first head of marketing for augmented reality. Casanova moved from leading iPhone marketing for wireless carriers into the new role this month. Casanova is an Apple veteran, having worked at the company for about 30 years, and is credited for his work with carriers to promote the iPhone and developing older Apple products like QuickTime Video Player.
So Apple is much on Casanova.
I mean, listen, somebody who's worked at Apple for 30 years, that in itself is significant. The fact that he is now moving to marketing for AI after AR rather, is I don't know. I mean, I think it speaks to how much Apple believes in this person.
Well, yeah, and the product category. I think it signals a lot that we all have been expecting Apple to move into augmented reality more and more. Obviously, AR Kit is an indication of that, and putting the guy who's largely responsible for the success in carrier marketing with the iPhone, which is no small thing. It's a lot of belief in Casanova, and it's a lot of belief in augmented reality. And it sort of signals that we might be getting some more products, whether it's a more developed AR Kit related campaign or whether it's a new product. Maybe some kind of augmented reality headset would be interesting to keep an eye out on.
Yeah, I think that's why it might be his big break, going to something that might be very visible in the future, because there's no way they're not actually working on a significant AR product. And if it happens, then it will be very visible, and the person behind it will make their name.
Agreed.
Developers David Wilkinson and Ogden Epic have created a Chrome extension called Language Learning with Netflix, which lets you watch Netflix shows with 2 subtitles on at the same time. So you can pair translations to help increase vocabulary. Hovering over a word shows a dictionary, and clicking on a word lets you hear that word. You can choose to show dialogue and even pause playback at the end of every subtitle. The extension is free through the developers, though the developers have plans for premium features.
I thought this was really cool because I guess Viki, the app that I watch all my Chinese and Korean dramas on, has a similar thing that they rolled out in 2017 that lets you sort of, go in and see 2 captions at once to help you with language learning. Once I dug into this and realized this isn't just about having 2 captions on while you watch a show in real time. This is about studying what these shows are saying. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's a really great way of finding material to learn a language. I actually really started learning English when I was in Cyprus. I was a teenager, and there was nothing to do, so we actually watched English movies every day without subtitles, and so my mom had to explain everything to us. But then when we started getting subtitles, it was a huge help. So if you're learning a language, watching something with that language's subtitle on and rewatching the same thing over and over again can be very helpful, because you end up picking up on the different things they're saying. So having the 2 languages might make that process even easier, even smoother, and then you can drop one, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, maybe if I had this, I would have picked up more Korean than just "여보세요" when you answer.
That's not too bad.
Amazon is buying mesh router maker Eero to fit into its smart home plans, but most people are concerned about privacy with this deal. A lot of backlash out there on the social networks. Eero's privacy policy is really good right now. It's written in plain English. Eero tweeted that it does not track customers' internet activity, and this policy will not change with the acquisition. Now, there are concerns with somebody like Amazon buys a product like this that handles all your internet traffic, but don't forget, it's not. You can overblow what they can do just by saying, well, all your internet traffic goes through it, and now Amazon will know everything I do. Dieter Bohn at The Verge notes that your router does know when you're home and can see your traffic patterns, telling when you're streaming video, for instance. That might be something Amazon would be interested in. Also, Eero knows what gadgets connect to your system. If you go into the Eero control panel, you can see like, oh, that's a Mac, that's an iPhone, that's an Android phone, etc. But Zach Whitaker over at TechCrunch notes, too, that things like HTTPS can prevent your router from seeing a lot of the data that you're visiting. Your ISP knows a lot more about your traffic than any router ever could. In fact, Zach Whitaker's article is worth reading just to go over, like, here's what a router can't do. And also with Amazon Web Services, Amazon probably knows way more about you than it could glean from your router anyway. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but Amazon powers almost the entire internet right now. In fact, Eero Prime with the VPN and stuff may use some Amazon backend services already. So I think it's easy to overreact to this, but I also am disappointed as an Eero user that now another one of my devices falls under the big companies, when I liked that I had a small independent company that I didn't have to worry about the consolidation,
But what? Okay, I understand that in on a high level, but what exactly do you think is going to change by Amazon buying Eero?
I doubt, actually, logically, I doubt much is going to change. Amazon has a pretty good track record of letting companies like Ring just continue to operate. I hope that they don't change Eero's privacy policy. It would be stupid for them to do so. But just as a matter of policy, I like to diversify where I'm putting my data, and I like to diversify where I'm putting my money so that I'm not buying everything from one company. And Eero just reduced that diversity for me.
Patrick, how do you feel about this? I mean, is this something that you feel is a privacy issue or potential one for Eero users now?
Yeah, I think it definitely could be. Whether or not it will be is a different matter. But you know what data they wouldn't get? Like what data, what way to make sure that they wouldn't get more data? It would be to not have Eero. If they're going to have Eero, they're going to have at least some amount of additional data, right? And this makes me think of when Facebook was using Onavo back in the day. It was a few years ago. And according to some people, that helped them figure out that WhatsApp was being super, super popular. And it helped them decide that they should be paying a huge amount of money because it was being used so much more than Facebook Messenger when no one else really had that information or maybe wasn't looking at it. So I don't know exactly what information they're going to be able to extract from this, but I'm sure it's going to be more information than if they didn't have Eero. So there's something that's going to be happening there.
Possibly. I do think the biggest reason Amazon buys Eero is for their smart home move. They want Eero to work with the Amazon Echo. They want it to work with Ring. They want to be able to integrate it so that you have an easier smart home setup, and providing a mesh network router that gives you better connectivity through your house is a way to do that. So there are certainly some positives with Amazon offering a mesh network, and Eero is a great mesh network router. I love it. So I see why Amazon wanted to do it, and I see how it fits in a way that they wouldn't need to violate privacy policies or loosen up privacy policies to make it worth their while.
I think to make it clearer, I would suspect they didn't buy them to have that additional data, but they won't say no to it if they can figure out a way of using it and extracting it. I'm guessing.
Well, and that's going to be the thing. How much can they resist that temptation, right?
Yeah.
I feel you.
In an article about the popularity of Apple AirPods, their fast sales, and frequent appearance in memes, Neil Seibert at AboveAvalon.com says, quote, a product which the tech press declared too awkward looking to ever go mainstream has now made headphones with wires look out of style. I would love to discuss this because I think everyone here knows how I feel about Apple AirPods, and yeah, the idea of like what is, you know, what looks cool, what looks normal in this modern headphone era.
I think Tom is wearing AirPods and he looks lovely. Okay, all right. So that quote that the AirPods are making the wired headphones going out of style, it's silly. It's over the top. I wouldn't go that far. I think the AirPods still look somewhat silly, a little bit less now that so many people are using them. But once you try them, most people, unless they have, you know, the kind of ears that Apple doesn't cater to, too bad, you know, you're wearing them wrong, obviously.
I mean, I'm one of those people.
You have the wrong ears.
I have the wrong ears. I have the wrong ears.
I don't think
that's what
wrong. They're just different.
Well, Apple doesn't see it that way, but if you're part of the people who Apple caters to, which is probably, you know, as usual, 80 to 90% of the population, you really enjoy these products, and they are a really well designed. So okay, once you've tried them on, most people will like them. When we first saw them, we only saw the fact that they look dumb, which they still do, but more and more people using them, and more people hearing from their friends that they are a really good product, are using them. In Europe, I don't know, apparently it's a European thing, but in Europe I see them everywhere and everyone is liking them. So I can absolutely believe the kind of
and you're talking about AirPods specifically, not just Bluetooth
Oh no, AirPods specifically.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, I can't hear you over my AirPods. Well, that's obviously a meme, and Seibert mentions that, and he has some like data besides just the anecdotal meme stuff, which is we saw a spike in searches on Google if you go to the Google search tracking, and that spike has led to a sustained interest in AirPods. He's got some data to back it up. It does seem like AirPods are probably the most successful product for Apple in a long time, certainly since the iPhone. And I do think they look dumb. I, as Akhtar, said, "Why do you have cigarette butts hanging out of your ears?" And since he said that to me, I can't stop thinking about them that way. That's why I use my Daily Tech News Show stocking cap to cover my ears when I go out for a walk, so that no one can tell. That said, I see them more and more out of outside my house. Both postal carriers, we have two guys that seem to switch off from time to time. I think one fills in for the other, are wearing them when they're doing their routes. I see people on the train. Yes, I took a train in Los Angeles. I saw people on the train with them on. So they have penetrated the mainstream now.
And I think it's very easy as tech journalists / snarky people to look at them and say, they look dumb, and they will never, and miss the fact that they are catching on. And I think that's a little bit of what's been happening here. And the numbers that you mentioned, the search surges are really impressive. Like, it was incredibly popular on Google search towards the end of last year for this holiday season. So they're really taking off. And I think it's word of mouth, because the tech press is only saying, you look like an idiot.
Also, one just fell out of my ear and I can't find it now. So there you go.
I saw that happen, actually. But yeah, no, as somebody who, I've said on the show before, they just don't fit my particular ears. I wish they did. And
listen,
if they did,
Sarah,
I think I would like them very much.
I am certain that there is some kind of ear corrective surgery that you could have to be able to wear the AirPods. I think you should consider
add that to the list of things I need to do.
Yeah,
cool.
Right. Let me add one last anecdotal point before we move off of this. I have noticed Google News is very good at telling me what everybody cares about rumor-wise. There's always iPhone rumors. There's always Galaxy S10 rumors. Every once in a while, when we get near another product release, we might see some rumors for another product bubble up. AirPod rumors have become a staple of my Google News. The rumors out right now are that we're going to have colors, and we're going to have a wireless charging case, and that the new ones will have some kind of health monitor stuck into them. So I think that's another thing that indicates to me, like, yeah, maybe AirPods are becoming a little bit more than just an accessory sideline for Apple. And I want to mention that Sarah will be trying some AirPod competitors as part of our new Live With It feature. I think we only have like one more day in the voting at patreon.com/DTNS if you want to choose which headphones she will pick to review.
Very much. Yeah. And thanks to everybody who's voted so far, and get in there if you haven't already.
Folks, if you want to get all the tech headlines each day in about 5 minutes, be sure to subscribe to dailytechheadlines.com. We want to finish with an explanation from Patrick about Apex Legends, which is setting records in the number of players it's getting. It's helping EA recover from a bad quarterly report. What is going on with this, other than the fact that I know everyone thinks the name is a little silly?
Well, maybe you're hanging out with people who don't have good taste. But honestly, this is kind of an incredible phenomenon that goes beyond the world of gaming, and no one is quite sure exactly. We're all a little bit awestruck. So the game was released a week ago, I believe today or yesterday, and it's already amassed 25 million players in just a week. To give a little bit of context, the previous game that I'm sure everyone in the audience has heard about that held the record for quickest rise was Fortnite Battle Royale, and that game took 3 months to reach that milestone. So 3 months, 1 week. It's incredible what is happening with this game. I think there are a few reasons why this is taking off so well. A few, let's say, contributing factors. First of all, there was a genius communication burst at the end of last week. No one knew the game existed before the weekend before the announcement. They did a very clever invite of influencers, and of course, over the weekend, and of course, that made the thing leak. So everyone was expecting the announcement and waiting for the announcement on a Monday evening. Announcement happens. The game is released immediately. It's free to play. You can go play it now. They paid a few Twitch streamers, famous people, to play it. And that kind of snowballed into a massive Twitch audience, and people kept playing it. The second factor is the fact that the game is excellent. Respawn Entertainment is a studio of people who used to work on Call of Duty in its heyday. Super incredible people and designers. The game makes a lot of bold choices that work out. There's also a little bit of right place, right time. That's the same for everyone. There's no other release happening right now to steal its thunder. And what I call the X factor is the fact that the battle royale genre is kind of the thing that everyone is chasing, but only two companies have managed to make that happen. And those companies cater to a very specific kind of gamer. Fortnite caters mostly to the younger crowd, and PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battleground, the other big game in that area, which you might have heard about, is kind of too gritty, a little bit slow, and maybe boring, according to some. This game feels like a normal quote-unquote game, so the pent-up demand for people who were on the outside looking into that genre that has been very popular has made it so people jumped in and started playing immediately, and the game is so good they kept playing. And beyond that, it's kind of a mystery. It's just they captured lightning. It clicked everything at the same time, and we're not quite sure why, but it's a phenomenon. And it doesn't seem like it's going to stop anytime soon.
I thought it was interesting that when Apex Legends came out, it was everything I read was about Respawn's Apex Legends until it became a hit. Then it became EA's Apex Legends, which both are true. I mean, Respawn is owned by EA and all that, but it's sort of like taking credit for the good behaving child here. And EA needs some good news, so I think that's another part of it as well. You've done an excellent job of sort of explaining where this sits in the landscape, and I understand it more. What do you like about it? When you say it just clicked, obviously it's going to be different for every player, but what is the thing that drew you into it?
Well, I think beyond the game's quality, I could start talking about game design. But the reality is I wanted to enjoy the genre of battle royale. For those who don't know, it's essentially you get 100 people, between 50 and 100 people, dropped on an island that is designed for combat. You have to find weapons, and then the last man standing wins. And I wanted to enjoy that genre because it's very popular, but I couldn't find the right game for me. And I think a lot of people, all of my friends, were in that boat. And this game, with its excellent traditional first-person shooter roots and impeccable polish, fits that bill. So everyone who wanted to like these kinds of to enjoy these kinds of games jumped in and liked it immediately. I'm not going to go into specific game design stuff, but I think that's a massive factor. Another thing that's really interesting is if you explain what the game is from the outside, a lot of people are going to start grimacing. It is a free-to-play, battle royale, oversaturated type of game from EA, very unliked publisher, with microtransactions and loot boxes. And the fact that they announced it and released it immediately meant that people didn't have time to start hating it on principle and started enjoying it in actuality.
Do you think any of it has to do with the people playing it? When you're talking about these open world, a lot of it has to do with who else you're playing with. And a lot of the complaints about Fortnite are, I can't get started because I'm old and slow and I don't know how to play this and everyone kills me. Does that make a difference?
I think in this case as well, I mean, I'm old and slow and everyone kills me as well. But they made the choice to only allow squads of people. So you have to play with 2 other people. So squads of 3. If you don't have friends in your group, you're going to be match made with random people. But it also means that you might be match made with someone who knows what they're doing. So you follow them, do a little bit like them, maybe heal them every once in a while, and maybe achieve something in 1 out of 5 games. So yeah, that might play into it, because if you go solo in those other games, chances are you're going to die in the first 2 minutes and not have a lot of fun. Here it's more balanced.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Patrick, for sharing that perspective. Not just for us, but for anybody out there who's like, okay, I keep hearing about this thing. I see people talking about it. Now, hopefully, you understand a little more if you're not someone who already enjoys it.
Indeed. And thanks to everyone who participates in our subreddit. You help us make our show every day. You could submit stories and vote on others at dailytechnewsshow.reddit.com. And also, we're on Facebook at facebook.com/groups/dailytechnewsshow.
I often say we have the smartest audience in podcasting, and today is no disproof of that. We've got a great email.
You are right, at least today, Tom. This actually comes from another Tom. Tom says, I was listening on my way to work to yesterday's podcast and the story about Apple making records available to veterans. One thing that was not noted, but I believe is important, is that the VA signed a contract with Cerner Corporation last year to completely modernize their electric health records. This comes subsequent to the DoD signing a contract with the Leidos Consortium to do the same with Cerner as a key member to that DoD contract. The Coast Guard has also signed on to this. With all of that said, I don't know what the involvement of Cerner in this latest Apple effort is, but I wouldn't be surprised if Cerner is invoked in some way. It certainly is possible that this is connected to VA's existing VSA system. That is the system that would be replaced. Just thought you might like to have a little background.
Yeah, I love that background, Tom, and a few other Veterans Administration associated people wrote in to say, the VA has actually been pretty good at staying modernized and providing some cutting edge health related technology. So I'm glad to hear from everybody about that. It's good stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you very much to the other Tom. And also thanks to Patrick Beja. We missed you last week. We're so glad you're feeling better, and let folks know where they can keep up with your work.
Sure. I would recommend two things today. First, if you're a casual gamer, you need a little bit of information, you can go listen to the monthly video game briefing. That's MVGB, and we do it with Scott Johnson. A lot of fun. And if you are more of a core gamer, you need all of the information, I'd recommend my show Pixels. Both of them are easy to find on your podcast player of choice. Just search for MVGB or Pixels.
Excellent. Hey, folks, our goal each month is to get one more patron than last month. And the only way we can do that is for you who are not already a patron to sign up. And for those of you who are a member, to stay a member. If you want to become a DTNS member, you can get an RSS feed that doesn't have commercials. You can get special episodes from me, from Sarah, columns from Roger. All of that is available when you sign up at patreon.com/DTNS. And don't forget, if you want to wear AirPods in secret, the DTNS hat is one of the many items you can get at dailytechnewsshow.com/store.
Our email address is feedback@dailytechnewsshow.com. Keep the feedback coming. We love to hear from you. We're also live Monday through Friday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, 21:30 UTC. And you can find out more at dailytechnewsshow.com/live.
Back tomorrow with Scott Johnson. Talk to you then.
Bye.
This show is part of the Frog Pants Network. Get more at frogpants.com.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.
That was a tight show. Like we I was looking at the amount, the total running time just now, and it not nearly as much time as I thought we spent, given the information that we covered.
So good.
Right? Yeah,
Patrick
very
nailed
good.
it.
Our compression algorithm worked.
Right.
So the review
Finally.
in like 8 minutes in the beginning, and then the show super tight. Maybe, wait a second.
Hold on a second.
Maybe it works a lot better when I'm sick.
Yes, I'm sorry. You'll have to be ill.
Patrick,
for
can you
everything.
remain sick, please?
We'll be
Well,
sending you some
again,
Bacillus.
with my child going to daycare,
no joke.
it might be a common
It's probably, the answer is probably yes.
All right,
can.
we got some good title suggestions.
I will, however, retire.
Yes, no, of course, we understand. Thank you, Patrick. Go rest up, get better, And we would
Thank
like
you.
to see a healthy Patrick Beja next week.
Me too.
Okay.
Bye.
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 Bye, Patrick. See you next week.
So
All right. So
our top
robots.
title vote getter right now is I'm old and slow and everyone kills me.
Love it.
That is my
Submitted
favorite.
by you.
I also submitted it. I also said it, so I'm probably biased. Zoom and enhance is in there. Also, a hat tip to full of hot AirPods.
I mean, I like your submission. I think it's good.
Yeah,
I'm old and slow and everyone kills me.
it's just
How I feel. For the most part.
Patrick says Tom looks lovely is in there. Yeah. Diverse data destinations desired. I like the alliteration there. That's good. Patrick was born
Quad D. Quad D.
Yeah.
Zoe brings bacon. Good work.
Is there an echo in this Eero? That's clever. Oh, and then I'm old and slow, and does that matter? Is another take on that. All right. I'm old and slow, and everyone kills me. That's
do it.
Yeah. If you're not going to fight me on it, why would I not?
I'm not fighting you.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. I'm old, I'm slow, and everyone kills me.
Why does everyone kill me? It's a battleground. I guess that's what happens when you get in a battleground. I did a little Q&A yesterday. I did an AMA with the chat room.
Okay.
We had somebody, at least one person, emailed and said they like.
Did you have some insightful stuff that happened?
Yeah, we had some interesting conversations.
Okay.
So if we want to do that again, you can ask. Yesterday it was just me and Roger, but now we got Sarah, so maybe there's some new questions.
Yeah, of course.
Put them in the Discord if you're listening in the Discord, or in the chat room, irc.chatroom.net. And, I'm having this weird thing today where Discord won't launch on the machine I stream from. I have two machines going, one that streams the audio to Discord and one I stream my video on to the Hangout. The video one, Discord won't launch. It shows me the icon in the dock. It won't close, but it won't launch. So I have to switch over to the other machine.
And a system restart.
Well, I was doing the show, so I couldn't really do a system restart.
Oh. Well,
I assume after I'm done here and I do a restart, it'll probably take care of itself.
Probably. Yeah.
Zoe wants to ask Sarah what her favorite kitchen gadget is. She asked us that yesterday.
Favorite kitchen gadget? Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, I would probably say a garlic press. I ate a lot.
Oh my God. You did not listen to yesterday's Good Day Internet, did you?
No, I was.
That was my answer.
It was?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, we're not in sync on this.
That's hilarious.
The garlic press. I mean, the garlic press is my favorite. Like, it's it's either opening a I don't know, a can of dog food, or the garlic press,
or pressing garlic.
Pretty much press it.
Now, what kind of garlic press do you have?
It's an OXO brand. So it works well.
Is it the kind with the red?
It's red and white.
Now I used to have that one, but it broke. So I have a different one now. I don't know what the brand is, but it's all metal.
Oh, okay.
But the garlic press, like, forget who made it, is the best thing ever, because
it's the best thing ever.
You're no longer like it reduces the amount of time to get garlic in your recipe by tens of hundreds of amounts of time.
And I mean, it's garlic, right? So I know there are people out there who are like, garlic's not for me. Garlic is for me. I want everything to have garlic in it.
Garlic
tastes good. It's good for you. It has what's the word for it's good for your heart in
heart healthy. I mean,
well, it's heart healthy, but there's an actual word for what garlic has in its consistency that makes you healthier. And so I'm like, great, I'll just add it to everything. So I press a lot of garlic.
Old guys like garlic on Fruit Loops. Not so much. but yeah, I actually was making a salad, and I often will make a miso, lemon, olive oil, and garlic dressing for salads. I just kind of mush all that stuff together and make a
Sounds
dressing for
good.
salad. Yeah. It's an easy one and it always tastes good. So I was on, I was making salad with Veronica Belmont and Ryan Block and Eileen. We were all together and I was making the salad and I just started doing what I normally do, like pull out garlic, peel garlic, smash it with the knife, put it in the garlic press. And Ryan came over. He's like, whoa. He's like, we don't eat that much garlic, and I had to stop. Like, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm just a weirdo. I'll put like 4 cloves of garlic in my dressing, which is.
But
I
it's
know,
so
that's a lot.
good.
I know.
It's so good. Yeah, I there are definitely in fact, it's funny. I know a couple, heterosexual couple who they didn't break up over the garlic issue, but they got to a point where he was like, "Your breath is really bad. It's way too much garlic." And she was like, "But I like it.
Like,
what do I do?" You know,
deal
I
with
was
it.
like, "Oh my gosh, I've never actually had anybody like come at me and be like, too much garlic, Sarah." But sometimes I wonder if
Yeah,
I'm actually
they
eating
just
too
didn't
much of
say
it.
anything. Yeah,
Yeah, you
probably
know.
the same.
Yeah.
Garlic recognized garlic there, though. You know, you probably don't notice that even on
Yeah.
anybody else. So Tim wants to know what our favorite band is or group, favorite band or musical
Ever?
artist. See, that's it. Yeah, I have a hard time with those kind of questions. Like, I have a hard time picking one. I have a lot of favorites, and I kind of cycle through them. You know, as I listen to a lot of one, I'll start to be like, oh, okay, I don't need to listen to them for a while, and then I'll come back to them later. And
Well, yeah, agreed. And it's funny because the Grammys were on Sunday, and there were a lot of weird things that happened in that show, as is always the case at the Grammys. But you know, I kind of was thinking about this recently, like,
yeah,
who is my favorite band? Do I have a favorite band? And I would say that across the test of not the test of time, but you know, maybe like a decade or so, I'd say Arcade Fire is my favorite band.
Okay.
I love Arcade Fire. They are great. But it's weird because that's not even really the genre of music I like the most.
Right. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like, I might say Blondie is one of my favorites. I don't know if it's the favorite, but it's not. But that's going to give you a misimpression of my taste because you're going to think, you know, Call Me and Heart of Glass. And I'm like, I don't know, like it. I don't like those so much as some of their earlier stuff and older stuff.
Right. Yeah.
I just like her voice. I don't know. I like The Bird and the Bee. I'm just looking through my playlist right now. I like, what do I like? I mean, I like Sway Lee. That's like a recent favorite.
I mean, part of it is there is no one favorite band. There's the band that's most appropriate for a situation that you're in or
Wu-Tang
you're
Clan,
experiencing, and that you like that music. I mean,
yeah, the Kinks. I've always been a fan.
Like if you're in a pensive mood, or you want pensive music.
It's a mood thing.
Lucy
I
Dacus is
definitely I definitely agree with that. Like, for
Special.
example, over the weekend, Halsey was SNL's musical guest, and actually she was hosting it as well. And I don't know her that well. I think she seems adorable, but I don't know her music. And when she was, you know, doing her stuff, I was like, yeah, okay, sure. But I know people really love her.
Yeah. I like Ariana Grande too. But again, I don't know that she's my favorite. I just always enjoy her singing.
Well, sure. I mean, is there I guess one way to tell is like, would you blindly buy an album from them because they carry a certain reputation?
Right.
So it's like, hey, you know, these guys are good and they've never disappointed me before.
Sunvolt is one like that. I always liked Sunvolt. I always liked Nicki Minaj. Everything she does is great.
I used to be big on Empire of the Sun. I was very into them for a long time.
What's your favorite Empire of the Sun song? Because I'm trying to remember. Like, I know them too, but like, what's their big hit?
The big one that I don't want to say it's their big one, but the one that I know most readily is walking. Walking on a Dream.
Oh, I like that song. Yeah. That's a good one.
But they one of them split off, or not split off, but one of I'm trying to remember which one did it. Started Panau, PNAU.
Okay. A new band.
Yeah, like how like it's wait, is it the same tune?
By the way, Tim, who asked this question in Discord, has a follow-up clarification, or not clarification, but refinement. He says, "Where do you stand on the Beatles?" I think is because that's his favorite.
I mean, I think the Beatles were is the best band that's ever lived.
No, I don't think he expects you to say that. If
but I actually do feel that there is no band better than the Beatles to me. But that's also because like my parents, we when we were still playing records. Like the Beatles were a big part of my upbringing. And my parents love them. So, that's how I feel
love
about
the Beatles.
that.
I went through a stage where my friends just couldn't stand the fact that I played the Beatles all the time when I was in high school.
Yeah, I'm not a Beatles fan.
I don't listen to them as much anymore because I think I burnt out, but I never don't enjoy hearing a Beatles song.
I've always been on the fence with the Beatles because it is one of those bands that everyone that was older than me was really into, and they had to share it with me. And so I
never had that experience.
You told it was forced on
like
you.
whether it was my music teacher, like in high school, just talking about the Beatles all the time, or what's his name from? I had a classmate who was super into the Beatles.
All the teachers and parents and stuff around me thought the Beatles were a little bit suspect.
Oh yeah,
suspect in what capacity?
Oh, that's one of those hippie bands. I'm kind of glad they're over. They have people overhyping them.
Right, too much.
Like when I was a kid in the 70s, and the Beatles had broken up. My mom liked Paul McCartney solo, but she was not a big
Paul McCartney solo is the worst part of the Beatles,
right?
But
so I think that sort of. Like that made me want to like the Beatles more. Whereas like I could totally see, Roger, if I'd had the same people around me that you did, I might have had the screw the Beatles.
Yeah, I get it. Like you guys like the Beatles, but like you guys don't mention like Zeppelin, you guys don't mention the Who. It's always Beatles this, Beatles that, like everything was
Stones.
Well, but those are
I understand.
Okay.
It's like
all right.
It's all encompassing, and it's like don't need it. Like I understand they were seminal in pop music in the West, but at the same time it's like it's cool. I listened to more of the Monkees than I did of the Beatles all the way up through high school.
That's just wrong. But
just because she's a big part of the show. My mom just texted me, Paul McCartney is the worst Beatle.
Even worse than Ringo?
Oh, Ringo's great. No one hates Ringo.
Yeah.
He's just a bad drummer.
I remember the look on your mom's face when I told her my analogy of San Francisco being John Lennon and Paul McCartney being LA. And it looked like she was like, I must move my daughter out of Paul McCartney immediately.
Right. I actually, it's funny, there was, this is not super recently, but I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, we were doing like a Christmas dinner with the Lane family.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my aunts said, I always thought that the Stones were like cooler than the Beatles. And you should have seen the anger that happened with the people that did not agree with Aunt Susie.
I mean, it's like you should switch to politics and religion at that point, right? Just to calm things down. That's just an incendiary statement.
Dinner was like basically ruined.
Yeah,
by her saying that.
And that works both ways, right?
Yeah.
saying that the Beatles are better than the Stones to a Stones fan is this lobbing a grenade too. That is not a topic to build bridges with.
You know, like if you had to say one, like a band or set of bands that you think that you like, but you think is relatively uncool, people think they're uncool band, but I like them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, do you have any of those? Like, I wouldn't say a guilty pleasure, but you
well,
would not
I mean,
necessarily volunteer that information.
Yes.
Maroon 5.
Mm,
That's what people hate Maroon 5.
Yeah.
I don't understand why. I think they have a lot of great songs. I do not hate Maroon 5. I don't get it. It's my guilty pleasure. I guess.
The thing that always comes up on my music playlist that I will often skip if I'm with someone I don't know very well in the car is the Wolf Tones. It's an Irish kind of protest folk band.
Okay. Sounds good.
It's great. I love it. And they sing like traditional Irish songs, but with a kind of a modern flair, and they're very rebellious.
But I mean, is there something where you're like, if I don't know you well enough, this is just not
you're gonna
go
get the
well.
wrong idea.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Because it's not all of the things that I listen to.
So my guilty pleasure and the thing I hate myself for is listening to Billy Joel, because I really don't like most of his music.
I like a lot of Billy
There's
Joel.
no reason to hate yourself for listening to Billy Joel.
Musically, I don't think he's all that, but for some reason, his music is very catchy.
But again, like what? There's nothing to hate. Billy Joel is like he's an American hero.
Is he?
Okay. So, what's your favorite Billy Joel song?
I would have to. So this is another thing I hate myself for. It's Piano Man.
Which is a good song.
That's like the most popular Billy Joel song.
That's the
too.
thing.
Sure. Yeah. That's why Roger hates himself for it, because he's like, it's such a sellout.
But why hate yourself for something like it's popular because it's a popular song that people like.
I actually like that.
I like that song.
Built This City on Rock and Roll, which is like a ludicrous corporate like sellout song, but I like.
Okay, well, that's not Billy Joel.
That's true, but those are my things. Like, if I were to announce, I feel like if I announced in public, I would.
All right, we gotta before we get to take it down for me playing that, we have to end our video. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Audio folks, stick around. There's more embarrassing bands to come.